One of the reasons I love Lightroom is the speed at which you can find photos. I'm a very disorganized person, and so having a system that organizes things for me is amazing. So I want to show you the different ways I find photos. Well, the first way, of course, is using collections. Remember we did earlier in HDR collections. I usually have a collections of all my best work in collections. So, you know, like my 5-star, remember my HDRs, my panoramas. So collections is a good way to get to your cream of the cream, top of the top, best of the best photo. Of course, the other way I do things, also one thing which is really cool is like, if you've got a collection that you think is really hot and you really want to come back to it, you can right click and you can add a color label, which is what I do. So let's say this one is really important to me. So I'm going to give it a red. And it's going to add a little red thing. And I'm thinking it's going to work also for the panoramas, for example. I can go here, add a color section, and I'm going to add a red. So like, it's just a visual thing because I've got so many collections. I'm like, oh, okay, these two are important. The other thing which is really cool is you can filter collections by name. So, which is a great way to find photos. I can click HDR, and I just have my HDR collections, for example. Okay, so collection is one way of finding photo. The other way, of course, is by going through your hard drive, folder by folders, and just looking at your photos. The good thing is you can filter, so I can go like this, and I can type Paris, for example, and I just have my Paris folder. Same idea with the collection. You just filter, but that's only going to be on a folder's name. But the real power comes from the metadata. Remember, Lightroom knows the date your photo was taken, knows the camera that was used, knows the lens that was used, and that's so helpful. So I'm going to go to my catalog to all photograph, and I'm going to press Command F, okay? And of course, if you're a good person and you put in some keywords like we saw earlier, or you change the file name to have some kind of keyword. So for example, I can type Paris, and I'm going to have all my Paris photo because they were keywords. There were some keywords on it. So, but also this uses a technology called Sensei, like the samurai sensei. But it doesn't always work. So let's say I type sunset, for example. Even if I didn't keyword the word sunset, which I think on this one I did, it's going to try to find a sunset for you. It's going to analyze your photo. And let's see here. Let's see if I can do like blue hour, for example. Okay, nothing matches. Or if building, I don't know, building, for example. Let's see if it's find a building. No. So you can search by name. Let's say you did put, remember we did a whole bunch of keywords. So if I type sunset, remember we keyword that. Let's say sunset would be in a file name that would work also. So that's another way, but you have to keyword your stuff to be able to find it with this. But here's what I use all the time, which I think is amazing, is the metadata. So let's say, for example, you're like, oh, I remember in 2015, or last year, in 2019, I did like a photo shoot in October. You can even open October, and it was like on the 3rd of October, and I used like a Sony A7R III, and I think I had the 24-105 lens, and boom, here is your photo. Now, and that's kind of cool. I can even go back. Let's see here, like 2015, what I got from 2015. That's all photos, and I can see it was shot with the Sony A7R II at the time, and they were both shot with the 1635, I'm guessing. Yes. So you can choose by date, you can choose by camera, you can choose by lens, which is really cool. Now this catalog almost has no data because that's the one I'm using for this training. But if I go in my regular catalog, and by the way, to change catalog, you can go to Open Recent. I'm going to take my regular huge catalog. So this is my huge catalog. Check this out. It's got 204,000 photos, okay? 15 years worth of photography. I can go to metadata, and I can go like, oh, okay, so I want to go back in 1951. Now that's kind of a bug, but I can go back to like, let's say, like February 2018. I shot 1,000 photos, okay? Or let's even go back further in time for the fun. Let's go back to 2015. In January, I shot 4,000 photos, okay? 2015. And I can say, okay, I used the 5D Mark II, 5D Mark III, 600D. I had the 7R. Most of it was shot with the Sony A7R. Okay, but then I had like 3 different lens: 35mm, 24, or 2470. So I'm like, oh, this, for example, and or this, and you get the idea. It's just so cool to find photos like this. I use that all the time because I usually roughly remember the day I shot a photo, okay? And so that's something really cool, and that's how you search photo in Lightroom.